Okay, so today I'm just going to give you my thoughts about the P180 and the PNL185 from GoFoil. So I've had the P180 for over a year, and I've recently got the PNL185, and I thought it would be useful to people if I just did a little comparison of the two. Now, dimension-wise, the P180 is just over a metre in length, I think 1085 millimetres to be precise. A cord 15.2 centimetres. The actual area I think is around about 1350 centimetres squared. Projected area just a few millimetres over 1300 centimetres squared. Its aspect ratio is 8.68, so although not the highest aspect ratio you can get nowadays, it's still very high aspect ratio. Now, if you know the GL series from GoFoil, it's very similar, apart from obviously a longer wingspan and narrower cord, but also it's a lot thinner than the GLs. So the GL 180, shorter wingspan, slightly deeper cord, and thicker. So as a result, the P180 is a glide machine. It really doesn't take much ocean energy to keep it gliding. It pumps amazingly, hence the name P180. It's really good for small waves, just makes it so easy to pump back out to connect lots of waves. You can just hunt swell on it if you want. That's a type of thing that I do. I dock jump or jump off a ladder in my case, and just pump around riding swell. For downwinding, prone and sup downwinding, it's awesome, absolutely brilliant. And it's really cool on the wake. If you're going to wake foil, this thing can ride the first wake, the second wake, the third wake with ease. Has just the right sort of speed and got a lot of lift. Yeah, it's really good for that. For wing foiling, I'm not a big fan of this because it seems to reach its top speed quite quickly, and it can suffer from what I refer to as wingtip wobble. The leading edge is very much like the GL series, so it's got quite a rounded, blunt leading edge that is quite thick. So very, very close, very soon after the leading edge, it gets to its thickest point very quickly. Now, dimensions of the PNL185 is going to be quite easy because, to my eye, I have really closely examined these two foils. To my eye, they seem to have been cast from the same mould. So I can imagine that they basically used the same mould but modified it. So the interesting thing is, how did they modify it? Well, first of all, and the most obvious thing, are the wingtips. So if I bring them a little bit closer to you so you can see, the wingtip, obviously on the PNL185, is literally, I suppose, the last 2 centimetres, roughly, of the wingtips of the P180 have basically been turned into the winglet that's on the P185. So just that bit there has been flipped up and the back part has been cut out. So other than that, the general shape is exactly the same. The general shape and all the other sort of dimensions. The second difference is the actual leading edge itself. So if I put these up close, the bottom one is the P180, top one's the PNL185. Hopefully you can see that the P180 has got that slightly more rounded, blunt leading edge. The PNL185 has got a much thinner leading edge, which angles up gently and doesn't reach the thickest part until close to halfway, not quite halfway into the chord. So the PNL185 is identical to the P180 in everything but two design aspects. First of all, the winglets, and second of all, the leading edge. The leading edge of the P180 is similar to the GL series, whereas the leading edge of the PNL185 is similar to the NL series. So what difference does that make to the performance? That's the important thing. Well, presumably because of the thinner leading edge, it really makes a big difference to the speed. The P180 has got, well, it's faster than the GL180, but it's nowhere near as fast as the NL series of foils, which is probably why I don't like it very much for wing foiling, because it reaches its top speed quite quickly, and you just can't get any faster than that, and that creates that, I think that helps to create the sort of lack of stability. Well, presumably the thinner leading edge has given the PNL185 the extra speed, and that's really noticeable. It's really good. I haven't ever felt like I need more speed when I've been using the PNL185, and probably a mixture of the leading edge and the winglets means that the stability is now not an issue. I simply haven't found any wingtip wobble whatsoever. It also seems to be slightly easier or quicker to be able to initiate a turn. So while the P180 is really good at carving, you can't flip it from rail to rail, if you like, on the roll axis particularly quickly. You have to initiate a turn, and then you can change that turn, but you can't do it as instantly as you can with the smaller foils. Obviously the wingspan accounts for that. But with the PNL185, you seem to just be able to throw it around a little bit quicker. Although that isn't quite as dramatic a change between the two foils as the speed and the stability. So it's a definite improvement from, it goes faster, therefore the glide is better, much better. Stability is awesome. I didn't feel that was an issue ever. And a little bit quicker to initiate or change direction for turning. The uses for the PNL185 compared to the P180. I now love this for wing foiling. I really do. For a light wind foil, this is awesome. For takeoff, the P180, presumably because it's got that blunt leading edge, you can pump it up onto the foil by a slight up and down motion. Not as much as low aspect foils, but you can still pump it up onto the foil using that back foot pressure to push you up. You don't want to do that with the PNL185 because it's one of the faster foils, because it's got the speed or the leading edge of the NLs. You need the board to glide across the top of the water, and once you've got enough speed, then you can just lift off almost without pumping at all. Just a little bit of back foot pressure and you're going. So it's got a really progressive, gentle, smooth takeoff, but you do need to be going that little bit faster. And that's the other thing about the PNL185. The big difference is that because it goes faster, its top speed is higher, it's got a higher stall speed. And I've noticed this a lot while I've been ladder jumping, dock starting, my version is ladder jumping, with these two foils back to back, is that the P180 is slower, therefore it's got a lower stall speed, which makes it a lot easier to pump. A lot easier to pump at slow speeds. But as long as you can keep your speed up within the limits of the PNL185, then it's also really easy to pump. But you've got to keep the speed going. If you don't, you'll stall. It is a progressive stall. It doesn't suddenly just drop out of the water without any warning at all. But I think this is not just a foil that is better in every way than the P180. I think its design characteristics make it better for wing foiling, for sure. For downwinding, definitely. Prone or sup downwinding, this is a beast. It's, in my opinion, better than the P180 because it'll go faster, it'll glide better, therefore that's what you want for downwinding. And when you're within its speed range, it's so easy to pump when you're downwinding. It feels literally like it'll let you pump forever. As long as you've got a little bit of ocean energy to give you that push, pumping this is just one of the easiest foils I've ever pumped. It really is amazing for things like downwinding, whether you've got a wind wing or just paddle power on a sup, or even prone downwinding. So the P180, in my opinion, is still better for surfing small waves because the ease of pumping and the fact that you can go slower means that it doesn't take as much energy. The faster the foil is, the more energy it takes to pump, therefore you tire quicker. It's a simple matter of physics, you can't get around it. No matter how good your technique is, you can pump that one for longer on flat water. In other words, you come off a wave, you pump back to connect to the next wave, that one's going to be easier. Yeah, if you keep your speed up, you can pump this one no problem at all, but like I say, because you're going faster, you're using more energy and you'll tire quicker. So for wake foiling, bizarrely enough, I prefer the P180 because it's slightly slower. It seems to match the speed of the wake and small, weak waves really, really well. Whereas the PNL185 is so fast it wants to outrun everything, which is why it's so good for downwinding, but it makes riding small, weak waves or a wake, which is what the P180 really excels at. It makes all of that really easy. This doesn't make it as easy because it just needs to be kept going faster. I kept outrunning the wake. It was crazy. You know, I had to keep on, turning back, and it surprised me how difficult it was to control your speed. It's which is a huge advantage when you're downwinding. You want to go faster. So yeah, downwind beast. Wing foiling, incredible for light wind wing foiling. P180 has still got a place if you've got an area where there's lots of small, mushy, weak waves. You can connect. I can connect so many more waves with the P180 than I can with any other foil. So yeah, there we go. Those are my thoughts on these two foils from GoFoil. One little word of advice though about the winglets. The winglets could do with a little bit of sanding just on that back tip there. That will literally cut through flesh. But just a little bit of a rounding on that sharp back tip there, and it'll be fine. You still don't want to land on it or have an argument with it, but if that scrapes against you, not a lot of problem. But if that scrapes against you, yeah, you could have a really, really nasty injury. So my next job is just to round off that back sharp tip there, and job's a good one. I've done that to my NLs, and there was no noticeable difference in performance from doing that whatsoever. Okay, so PNL185 extra 5 from the P180. Doesn't seem to be in dimensions, it's just a name as far as I can tell. But yeah, if I've missed anything that you want to ask about, then please fire off a question and I'll do my best to answer it. Other than that, keep having fun. P180 P185. I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know. Seeing double? Ta-da! P180 PNL185. Brothers from another mother. Literally. Cut from the same mould. Apart from the winglets. Yeah, I know. Brothers from another mother. Woo! P180 PNL185.